The Lord be with you.
And your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, Lord.
When the Pharisees, with some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem, gathered around Jesus, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. For the Pharisees, and in fact all Jews, do not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And on coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. And there are many other things that they have traditionally observed, the purification of cups and jugs and kettles and beds. So the Pharisees and the scribes questioned him, "Why do your disciples not follow the tradition of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands?" He responded, "Well did Isaiah the prophesy about you hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts.' You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition." He summoned the crowd again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters one from the outside can defile that person, but the things that come out from within are what defile. From within people, from their hearts, come evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All of these evils come from within, and they defile." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. One of the running themes throughout the Gospel of Matthew, and it is front and center in today's Gospel, is that Jesus takes issue with those whose spiritual focus is primarily on the surface, who are overly concerned with outward actions. And Jesus is not the only one. Today, in our own day, one of the constant criticisms leveled against us churchgoers by those claiming to be spiritual but not religious, and those who believe in God but admit to no particular church affiliation, is that is what we do. And we need to take that critique seriously, I think, because all too often, very good people of faith can still become obsessed with wording, with appearances, with external practices, while neglecting matters of justice, mercy, forgiveness, and compassion. If we are painfully honest and reflect upon our life, I think all of us can recognize some times in our life when we used the externals to keep God at a distance. Usually when the realization dawns upon us, it's not a happy moment. It is one filled with regret and pain. We can use the externals of any part of our life, including the life of our faith, to actually protect us from God's love, from God's grace. To keep conversion away from ourselves and the truth to which conversion summons us. All the externals of our religious life are really designed to affect us internally. As the theologian C.F.D. Moll reminded us, quote, "Externals are worse than useless unless the heart is in the right place," end quote. And as the spiritual writer Frederick Buechner asks us to consider, quote, "Imagine a youngster learning to play the piano. The child holds his hands exactly as he's been told. He has memorized the piece perfectly. He has hit all the proper notes with deadly accuracy. But his heart is not in it, only his fingers. And while he is playing a sort of music, it is nothing that will ever make voices begin to sing or feet begin to tap," end quote. Today's scriptures call us to look deeply at our life. They ask us to respond to the question, is our faith primarily just in our fingers? Or is it in our hearts? Are we open to allowing God to renew us and to allow God's grace to work deep within us? Are we open to being changed from the inside out?